All states are sovereign. All courts are foreign vessels in dry dock, not connected to each other. There is no such thing as a Supreme Court of any country here in the United States. There are only federal courts and only foreign vessels within their own little ship. They don't take advice from any other court. You can't transfer to any other court unless somebody's throwing and somebody wants to catch it. Then you can move it. Otherwise, it's their own little kingdoms. Now, here's another thing probably many of you don't know. The Sheriff's Department only has a 12-mile limit from the courthouse. The Sheriff's Department works for the courthouse. The courthouse is a foreign vessel in dry dock, and it can only go 12 miles beyond its courthouse. All the speed signs on the highway are from courthouse to courthouse. If you don't believe me, measure it out anywhere in the United States. Any country worldwide goes from courthouse to courthouse as foreign vessels in dry dock. So you always know how long it's going to take you to get from one court to another court, because that's where they harvest people. The Constitution is what you make it. You're the one that signs that Constitution, and the courthouse will dock your vessel, but the judge has to sign your Constitution to hear what you have to say. But if the judge is on a plane above you, and we're going to get into planes of venue. Okay, you got prosecute and defense on the what they call the common plane, and then down over here you got a bar, and this is the peanut gallery. Cross the bar. That just means you're entering into foreign country, British. So this is where we sit. Now, number 4 is the clerk of the courts. Now, some of the clerk of the courts are on the same plane as you. But the clerk of the courts takes your money, files your papers, puts stamps on, and signs them. When a clerk of the court signs a stamp, he or her is a postmaster. When they take money for paying fines, they're bankers. You go into Black's Law Dictionary, you look up postmasters and bankers, it says, see the judge. Now, when you have a witness, we put a witness in a witness box, which is an enclosed area, and you can't be considered. So therefore, you can't speak and you can't hear what's being said, because he says, I swear. And when he says, I swear, we'll go over here. I swear to tell the truth, so help me God. And this is an adverb, and this is a verb. So therefore, I will do evil in future time and tell nothing. So help, adverb, verb, making help into an illusion of my faith as a verb. So these are all fiction, and this is all modification. Therefore, you say nothing. That's why you get the first 2 words is you will either swear or affirm. And how do you spell affirm? AFF, no contract. So therefore, you're talking to yourself in a box. So what do? We put the jury in the jury box. JU means no law, and RY is contract. So no law contract is what they're hearing, an adverb verb from the witness, from the judge, on a different plane than you are. There's no continuance of evidence for anybody in the courtroom. That way everyone is babbling and nobody can hear what's going on. If I do a simple thing and take this piece of paper and I put it on the floor here, and I stand on it, you can no longer see me or hear me. I don't care what you think your illusion is telling you, but I'm on a different plane than you are. I don't care if it's 1/100 of an inch thick and we call it a sheet of paper. I just changed my plane, better known as a soapbox. And you can no longer see or hear me, so no matter what I say, it's just your illusion. But I I teach on the floor here, same as where you're all sitting. So they're thinking all things are equal. Chilton, Wisconsin. I go in, the judge wants to hold court in the gymnasium. We walk in there. The judge is sitting on a 4x8 sheet of plywood with a folding table. He's got a champagne cork with 2 flags, 3/4 of an inch each, with yellow fringe painted around them and a spear on top, making it a military court-martial. On his desk, on his plane of a 4x8 sheet of plywood, a 1/2 inch thick. The witness stand is another 4x4 foot sheet of plywood with a folding chairs on it. And Linda's sitting there with a 1 to 1.9 constitutional flag. She's holding it in her hand. Judge calls her up, take the witness stand. Now, her daughter just received the $385,000 insurance settlement from a car accident. The judge ordered that the insurance, that money be given to a trustee who is a lawyer who works for the court. So the lawyer would manage it. Of course, that would all disappear in attorney fees as the management fee. She says, no, I won't surrender the money. And he says, put down your flag. He says, if you don't put down your flag, I'm going to hold you in contempt for 6 months, put you in jail. I will not surrender the flag. So, again, he asks her for the money. She says, no, I won't give you the money. And I told her, I says, don't surrender the flag and don't give up your money. He's on a different plane than you are. He can't see or hear you. There's a break in the continuance of evidence between your witness stand and his plane, just like up here. So he says, I'm going to hold you in contempt again, 1 year in prison. You put down your flag or you're going to prison right now. And I got 2 sheriffs in the back there with a warrant for your arrest. A couple more minutes go past. He threatens her a 3rd time. 3 strikes and you're out. You either put down that flag or the 2 sheriffs are going to come forward and arrest you. So the sheriffs start working forward. She says, I will not surrender my flag. So the DA stands up, turns around to the sheriff and says, take her into custody. Judge says, no, can't do that. Why not? Well, I'm under a yellow fringe flag and she didn't surrender her flag, so therefore there's no continuance of evidence between my jurisdiction and her jurisdiction. You're free to go, Linda. And you know, I told Linda, when he says you're free to go, you just sit there. You don't say a word because you can't hear what he's saying. You can't hear the contempt. You can't hear any continuance of evidence because you have different planes of existence. And the 2 sheriffs in the back of the room said, you mean this is all a joke? This is all a play? Under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 44, you guys are actors? And the police officer took the warrants for Linda's arrest, ripped them up and threw them up in the air and says, don't ever call us in here again or I'll arrest you, Judge, for such nonsense. And they walked out. And the judge got up and walked out. Then Linda got up and came over to me and we walked out. But at no time did she have a conversation with the judge. Remember the movie, The Sixth Sense, I See Dead People, with the little boy? And if you didn't watch the last minute of the movie, you didn't know that Bruce Willis was dead and he was a ghost throughout the whole movie. And that's exactly what happens here, is when you're in court, this person who's an actor on a stage has no continuance of evidence with anything that's going on in the courtroom. He can't really talk to that bailiff. When I walk into a courtroom, I walk up to the bailiff and I say, you're on my plane. I'm a federal judge and here's my federal oath and you're my tipstaff. You work for me now. Arrest the judge as an imposter under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 44. And the judge is running out of the courtroom. They do it a lot. And my students that come to my court and watch me do this, they go like, damn it, that works. He really does have the authority to arrest judges. So, the courtroom is set up in this manner because it generates immunity. Now, if you do get into a scenario like you want to go in and fight your mortgage in front of and you get suckered into that, you're not paying attention, and you got the bank's attorneys over there. Any evidence that you have, or if I write a lawsuit for you that you have to go into court with, and you have the forensic evidence of the mortgage syntax with that many mistakes like I showed you in color, You first have to take it up to the clerk of the court here and have it stamped and have it marked into evidence. Then you can take the witness, don't take the witness stand because you've left the courtroom. You're in a box now. You go back to your table and you talk about it at your table. And you tell the judge, if I go into a box, it's an enclosed area and can't be considered. And then take a $1 bill out of your pocket and say, see, these were boxes, and in 1997, the Treasury said that anything in a box is an enclosed area and can't be considered. That's why the 5s, 10s, and 20s don't have boxes on them. Or do the 50s and 100s. If you don't believe me, go back to 1961 and pull out your old money that you've got that you're saving for your collection. You'll see a box around it, a little black line. And then you'll win your argument because the post office controls the port authorities that docks the vessel of the courthouse and dry dock. And the post office is also, all courthouses in the United States are built as post offices for 1 year. Then under Title 46, Chapter 781, the court files a salvage claim on the courthouse building and post office building, which turns it into a courthouse. Now remember a few weeks ago we had that issue take place where 2 men wanted to get married up in Lexington, Kentucky, a couple hours from here. And the clerk would not file the paperwork. I went in there 2 days after that and I filed my federal oath in that same courthouse because I had clients in there. 2 days